What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Playthrough, where I play through an entire series of video game franchises, and I had just beaten Resident Evil 4 not too long ago, so today I'm going to rank the Resident Evil 4 boss fights. Of all the Resident Evil games I've played so far, Resident Evil 4 has probably the most dynamic boss fights, and I figured why not just rank them all, because a lot of the fights in Resident Evil 4 are a lot of fun. So we have 11 boss fights that we're going to rank, and I will be ranking them from my least favorite up to my favorite. I know people may have their own opinions on this. You can please comment below in the comments section. Before I get started, if you like following me on my journey as I play through entire video game franchises and talk about each game along the way and kind of deep dive into more of this stuff, then please head over to my channel, The Playthrough, click that subscribe button and click the bell to get notifications every time a new video is posted. So at number 11, the bottom of the list, I have El Gigante fight number 2. And when I get to fight number 1, I'll explain a little more why number 2 is down here. First off, he's very, very easy to beat. I think I beat him with the TMP, and I just kind of shot at him. I did shoot the rock that kind of lands on him too. I took no damage when I fought him. The only thing that's kind of hard with that is that Ashley's with you, so you have to make sure he doesn't go after her and kill her. But it's just kind of like a rehashing of the first boss fight with a little bit of a twist. So this one kind of just is kind of forgettable, and it just kind of puts it at the bottom of the list for me. At number 10, El Gigante 2, or that would be El Gigante Twins. 2 El Gigante. Dos El Gigante. So at number 10, it's the 2 El Gigantes that you fight, or the El Gigante Twins. You fight them in this industrial metal refinery, and there's a trap in the middle, which I'm not sure if you can get both of them in the refinery trap at the same time. It seems very hard because I did try it and it didn't work, but you at least dispose of one of them pretty easily by just pulling the lever. They fall in, and then the next one, you would think it would just be kind of easy, like the past El Gigantes. And by this point, you're kind of over him. You fought him twice, and now you're fighting 2 of them. And I just remember wasting a fucking ton of ammo trying to take him down, and when I finally did beat him, I was very kind of annoyed and mad, because I had saved up all this ammo to this point, and he just won't die. I mean, in hindsight, your best point is probably just buying a rocket launcher if you have the pitas, and just killing him with that, and then that's it. That way you just conserve all of your ammo for later on in the game when you start to run low. At number 9, we've got Garrador. Hey, what's a cross between Code Veronica's Nosferatu and Wolverine? Well, it's Garrador. He's blind, so it shouldn't take you too long to figure out how to beat him when you see the bells and you see that his eyes are closed shut. And he's got these a massive iron tiger claws on him. And the way that you beat him is basically through shooting one of the bells to get his attention somewhere else. He'll go and start swinging like crazy over there, exposing his parasite on his backside, and then you can just kind of chip away at the parasite behind him, and then he's dead, and that's it. This fight was a little unsettling when it first came out. I kind of foresaw that it was coming when I was going into the room, which is why I left Ashley upstairs. Probably your best bet, so she doesn't get in the way and accidentally get clawed. But the fight isn't that iconic because later in the game you have to fight more Garradors. I don't know what the plural of Garrador is, but you have to fight more of them. So it's kind of a boss fight for the time, and then later he just becomes a hard to kill enemy. So that's why he's so far down on the list. At number 8, El Gigante, the first time you fight him, and that's because it's more iconic. He kind of gets played out once you get to the El Gigante Twins, because you've fought him so many times. I mean, 3 times really, 4 if you count the twins as 2. But the first time that you fight him, it's kind of special, because it's the first time that you see this giant monster, and at the time when the game came out, this fight was showcased in E3 and so many game showcases and everything. So you were waiting for this to happen, and it does happen kind of early on in the game too. It's also kind of cool to see him eliminate a lot of villagers too when they're trying to bring them out, to show that he doesn't really have an alliance. He's kind of just this creature that the villagers keep, and they're kind of sticking him on you. And if you did free the wolf at the beginning of the game, the wolf does come out to help you, which I think gives this one a little bit of a boost too, as opposed to the other El Gigante fights. And the wolf really just acts as this distraction for you to go and take El Gigante down. All right, let's continue on with number 7. Salazar. That's my Leon impersonation of when Salazar comes up on the screen. It's very dramatic.
Salazar.
Salazar is like a cartoon character in this game. He's super annoying, and every time you see him in like cutscenes, you just kind of want it. You can't wait to fight him because you can't wait to just absolutely, utterly destroy him. He has 3 main attacks. So to kill this Napoleon wannabe, you really have to just dodge well, really dodge all of his attacks. But there's 2 of them that you can dodge, and 1 that's like an auto kill when this like mouth comes and kills you. He's not super hard. At number 6, we're getting into the center of the list here, Del Lago. This is the boss I always forget about, and it's a lot of fun. And it's a lot of fun, especially for the beginning of the game, because it kind of comes out of nowhere. You kind of think you know what this game is. You're shooting zombies, you have your strategy down, and then all of a sudden you get in a boat, and you get attacked by this giant fish monster thing. And it's a blast to play, and it's super cinematic, and it is nothing like the game you have been playing up until this point. I know it's still kind of early, but you have a lot of quick time events, like when you get knocked out of the boat and you have to swim back real fast. You have unlimited amount of spears that you're just kind of like spearing them with. And it's not a hard boss fight, but it's just an overall fun boss fight. And I like this one a lot. Coming in at number 5 is Chief Mendez. This one too is kind of early in the game, it happens in the village, and if you're not ready for him, he can be a real pain. But if you have the firepower, you should be able to make relatively quick work of him, even when he becomes a living human nervous system. Number 4, the bosses of all bosses in the game, the big boss, Lord Saddler. And at this point in the game, if you've saved up all of your heavy firepower, this is the time to use it. Shoot the many eyes that appear on his joints, and when you finally like stun him and knock him down, you can run up, use your knife to stab that main eye of his that he has. Be sure to keep your distance in this boss fight. It's not a super hard boss fight, but it's not super easy either, and it's a good, solid end to the game. You can also use the cranes that knocks the materials into him, that takes away some of his health. And eventually, after a while, Ada will come in to assist you. She will toss a special rocket launcher at you, which you can pick up and just blow him to smithereens. And then that's it for Lord Saddler. Number 3, and this is a fan favorite, but I do believe there are 2 boss fights that are better than this one. Verdugo is number 3. And I hope I said that correctly. I think I said that correctly. Salazar's right-hand man. So he's super creepy. He's probably the most horrifying boss fight in the game. He takes a ton of damage to kill, and he also deals out a ton of damage as well. So your best strategy in this one is to avoid his attacks from when he's in the ceiling, when he's on the ground. When he finally drops down, you want to knock over the liquid nitrogen canister so that you freeze him, and then just deal as much damage as humanly possible on him. In hindsight, you should probably save your rocket launcher for this boss fight, because he's kind of hard, and it's super stressful, and if you just blow him away, then that's it. But it's still a fun boss fight, and just an overall cool character design for him. Super evil, super creepy. This one, definitely why he broke the top 3, and for some people, he's number 1. Number 2, U3, also known as It. I completely forgot about this when I went and did my playthrough. As I've mentioned, I've beaten the game before. It's been 15 years. But I have beaten it, and I completely forgot about this boss fight. But it's like a 2-parter, right? The first part of it, he's coming after you. You're on the platform, the hanging platform. You have to constantly drop the platform. You think you might have killed him, but you know you didn't. And then eventually you jump off the platform as he falls to what you think is his doom. But we've played video games before. We know how things work. He comes back, and then you actually have to fight him head on. And again, the fight isn't super hard if you dodge his attacks. If you've got grenades, if you've got heavy firepower, you can easily take him out. But it's the 2-parter. It's the feeling of defeating it. It's the feeling of being chased by him, and the feeling of like impending doom, which is what makes this boss fight so iconic. And that's why it's number 2. So number 1, the boss fight of all boss fights in Resident Evil 4. I don't even think it's close. It's Jack Krauser. I mean, you fight him first in the knife fight, and then you get this whole, it's the longest, drawn out, most cinematic, most movie style fight of the entire game, and I don't think any other boss fight comes close. First off, the knife fight, I know it's all quick time events, but no game had ever done something like this when this game came out, which is one of the reasons this fight is so iconic. And then you'll fight him in his human form, where he uses a lot of guns at you. You have to constantly change his strategy, because he'll shoot at you from afar, where you kind of have to just dodge him, maybe shoot and run and gun. And then he'll come and try a more of like a hands-on approach with his knife. And this kind of just puts you on your toes, because
It's not the same thing over and over again. You know, his formula is changing, so you have to change with that. And then later you fight him in his final form, and it's a timed battle too, because you can't wait for the time to run out, because then you get blown up. So you have to fight him when his arm is super mutated into like this like shield wing thing, shoot at his feet to get him, and then when he's stunned, just unload on him until he dies. Although, if you did play Ada Wong separate ways, you know that he did not die, and then you kill him as Ada. But I digress. I think Krauser, because he's in so many, and I mean, you could argue that maybe this is 3 different boss fights instead of 1, but I'm gonna consider him 1 boss fight, 1 very long, hard, drawn out boss fight. But I think he's the best in this game, and I don't even think it comes close. Probably the best that we've seen in the Resident Evil series up to this point. I guess you could probably argue the Mr. X fight in Resident Evil 2, or the final boss in Resident Evil 2, or even maybe the Nemesis, but I still think, in my opinion, he's the best. So there you have it. That's my rankings of the Resident Evil 4 boss fights in order. Let me know your rankings of the bosses in the comments below. And again, if you like watching me on my journey as I play through entire video game franchises, currently the Resident Evil franchise, please head over to my channel, subscribe, click the bell to get notifications every time I post a new video, and hopefully I'll see you guys on my next video.